You're listening to Plutocracy now. I just want to play something for you guys right now real quick. A couple weeks ago, there was the Doha climate talks, which predictably, of course, got pretty much nowhere. But also, while they were going on, in the Philippines, there was a massive, massive typhoon. Killed hundreds of people as the Doha talks were going on. And so here's a little speech from the representative from the Philippines.
This day, Madam Chair, marks a very crucial moment. We are 25 days away from the end of the first commitment period of the Kyoto Protocol. But we don't really have 25 days. We have a few precious hours left. We are at a critical juncture. And the next few hours represent a crucial opportunity for us to ensure that we are on the right trajectory to address the climate crisis. The Kyoto Protocol is the linchpin of success here in Doha and the cornerstone of ambition, if not the whole multilateral regime. And failure is simply unacceptable. We have made ourselves believe that a successful, ambitious outcome in KP is within reach. And under your able guidance and with the hard work of your Vice Chair and your facilitators, this may be in sight. However, as we close this ad hoc working group, ambition perhaps continues to elude us. An important backdrop for my delegation is the profound impacts of climate change that we are already confronting. And as we sit here every single hour, even as we vacillate and procrastinate here, we are suffering. There is massive and widespread devastation back at home. Hundreds of thousands of people have been rendered homeless, and the ordeal is far from over. Madam Chair, we have never had a typhoon like Bopa, which has wreaked havoc in a part of the country that has never seen a storm like this in half a century. And heartbreaking tragedies like this is not unique to the Philippines, because the whole world, especially developing countries struggling to address poverty and achieve social and human development, confront these same realities. Finally, Madam Chair, I speak on behalf of 100 million Filipinos, a quarter of a million of whom are eking out a living here in Qatar. And I'm making an urgent appeal, not as a negotiator, not as a leader of my delegation, but as a Filipino. I appeal to the whole world. I appeal to the leaders from all over the world to open our eyes to the stark reality that we face. I appeal to ministers. The outcome of our work is not about what our political masters want. It is about what is demanded of us by 7 billion people. I appeal to all, please, no more delays, no more excuses. Please let Doha be remembered as the place where we found the political will to turn things around. And let 2012 be remembered as the year the world found the courage to do so, to find the courage to take responsibility for the future we want. I ask of all of us here, if not us, then who? If not now, then when? If not here, then where? Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right, you just heard a little talk from the delegate from the Philippines, the Doha talks.
Was he crying?
Yeah, it appeared so.
Okay.
But I mean, hundreds of his people are dead, 100,000 homeless. You heard? I mean,
I don't know if I believe that, to be honest.
Okay, but 2012 was a record-setting year. Record heat waves.
Yeah, in North America, correct.
In North America, I mean, we had all kinds of disasters. Hurricane Sandy hit New York City, and right there, even in the middle of the climate talks.
Superstorm Sandy.
Even in the middle of those climate talks, one of the delegates' home countries was being hit by a massive, massive typhoon.
Yeah, like we're gonna have more extreme weather events. That's what scientists say. I accept that. So what should we do?
What should we do? Well, first off, we gotta get people to quit pretending that this isn't a real problem. I mean, there's a small chance that it's not, but basically the risks are so high that if this is a real problem,
which it is,
I mean, we're going to have a lot of explaining to do to future generations if we don't get our shit together right now. I mean, we're the most entitled generations living on this planet. You always hear Tea Partiers, right-wingers, libertarians talking about people feeling entitled. I've never seen anyone more entitled than these people driving these huge SUVs thinking they can just throw whatever they want in the air, saying, fuck the environment, you know, kicking the can down the road to their kids and their grandkids, pretending it's not a problem. This is a problem. This is a problem for the Maldives. This is problems for Kiribati. These islands are going underwater. They're trying to figure out where to put their people, what country they could send their people to. They're trying to get land there so they can evacuate their islands because they're going to be gone.
Well, how much has the sea risen in the past 100 years? I think it's just a matter of a few centimeters. I don't think islands are going underwater yet. But to your point, it is happening. It is occurring.
I want to say there are islands. I want to say the places in the Solomon Islands are...
No, the islands I just named, they're planning to get their people out. They've got hundreds of thousands of people that
All they had was a foot of sand anyways.
Yeah. But, I mean, they had it for, how long?
They had it.
Yeah. No, I agree. Earth is a beautiful place. A very delicate system with all kinds of intricate ecosystems that have evolved and adapted to certain regions. And humans shouldn't come along and take a giant crap on the planet and disrupt the equilibriums that have developed. We don't have a right to just go out and destroy all the crazy species because we have evolved a big enough brain to manipulate our environment.
Well, I would say that the polar ice caps are melting, and people don't talk about this much, but when that much fresh water goes into the ocean, it disrupts currents, and the North Atlantic current keeps places like England and northern Germany and France from experiencing weather that's on the same parallel as them, such as places like Canada. So if this ice continues to melt and goes to the ocean, it's going to cause catastrophic global events.
Yeah, there's that, and people always think that there's record ice melts on each pole last year, but people will say Antarctic is growing because on one half of it is growing. But guess what? That's not normal ice. That's not land ice. That's sea ice. That's super thin ice. I mean, just a couple years ago, I think it was 2007, the Northwest Passage, for the first time in recorded history.
It didn't freeze over.
Yeah. Companies who are going to use that for commercial trade ships they're not arguing about whether it's real or not. They're arguing about what country's going to be able to do it.
And you know what? If there's no ice there, you can drill for oil.
Exactly. And people always talk about melting ice, people think that's the main problem with sea level rise, but what really causes sea level rise in a warming world is thermal expansion. Exactly. The water expands because it gets warmer. And something we haven't even talked about, we haven't even touched on, but this is going to cinch the deal when it comes to climate change. And what we do to it is feedback.
Ocean currents.
Feedback. Positive feedback cycles in the environment. I mean,
because when the ice melts, more energy is absorbed because ice bounces the energy back off the earth, but as soon as it melts, it absorbs.
There's that, but that's not even the only one. I mean, Siberia, the permafrost is melting. That's releasing methane. These are just the feedback cycles we know of that could trigger more and more rises. If we hit a certain point, we might not be able to turn back the clock.
I agree.
Well, I'm going to the pool next week.
It is a real problem. So I got some facts according to Wikipedia. From 1870 to 2004, global average sea levels rose 17 centimeters, which is 6.7 inches. And what about in the future? Assessed by the U.S. National Research Council in 2010 suggests possible sea level rise over the 21st century of between 56 and 200 centimeters, which is in between 22 and 79 inches. So in the future, we're expecting multiple feet of sea level rises.
But you can't say that in North Carolina.
Yeah, you can't say that in North Carolina. That oceanfront property won't be so valuable in a few years, will it now?
Short it. How are we going to short it? Let's make some money off of it. The big short.
And also, you got to remember, with sea level rise, it's not uniform across the globe. There's certain areas, warmer areas, where you wouldn't think of it like that, but there's certain areas where it'll rise more than others.
Yep, true. Because of current, things like that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, everyone who's involved in climate talks, for years, they've set the goal at 2 degrees Celsius rising. That we can't go past that. Civilization, it would be disastrous for civilization to go past 2 degrees centigrade. But now they've revised that to be 1.5. But they've also basically, everyone at the Doha talks, the one thing they could all agree on was that we're going to blow past that by 2100. We're going to blow past that. And if we hit 4 degrees, that the estimates are, if we hit 4 degrees, this is a real rough estimate because it's not a very simple thing to calculate. But the estimate is that half of all species on this planet will not be able to handle the 4 degree Celsius temperature rise. So that means
Sixth
half of all species
mass
will go
extinction.
Yeah, the Holocene extinction. We're in the
Coming
middle
up.
of it. But it's not like we can't get out. It's not like there's not things we can do.
Well, what can we do realistically?
Well, there's actually a lot of strange things. Like one thing is sulfur dioxide actually cools the planet, which is emitted. It's part of what's emitted in coal plants, but it's also
Isn't that like acid rain?
But it's also emitted from volcanoes, and it cools the planet. But the thing is, there's actually a chapter about it in Super Freakonomics. If you want to check it
pray
out.
for a volcanic eruption to cool the planet?
No, you don't pray for it. What you do is, the thing is, the higher it goes, the more effective it is at cooling the planet. So our coal plants now aren't getting the job done. It's got to go into the stratosphere to be the most effective.
Yeah, that's where it stays up there the longest.
And so
are you saying that we need to have like chemtrails going into the upper atmosphere releasing this?
Yeah, that's one thing that people are working on.
Could you imagine if our society got to that point? That became what we had to do.
We have to terraform our own planet.
There's lots of there are a lot of geoengineering ideas. I mean, there's talk of putting basically coal plants on the poles where it's most effective at cooling the planet, and basically using hot air balloons to hold an 18-mile tube up into the stratosphere so that sulfur dioxide gets emitted up in. I mean, this is worst case scenario. So it's not like there's nothing we can do, but at the same time, if we hit those feedback cycles, there's no turning back. I mean, we can do that. And also, the thing is, if we get to that point where we really have to geoengineer our climate, we don't know. It's a very complex thing. We don't know what the negative consequences of that are going to be. So
what if we've already reached the point of no return?
I mean, that's totally possible.
I think we've reached that point.
I mean, there are a lot of climate scientists, people who study this, who agree with you.
Well,
so I don't know. But either way, get out to February 17th. Get out to the White House, Washington, D.C. Find a carpool. And we're going to be at the White House, send a message to President Obama. Quit investing in these dirty energies that we know we need to get away from them. We have better technology now. Invest in the better technology. You know, if the private sector really wants to build this pipeline, fuck them. It's not in the public interest.
We can't let the Tea Party drown out our voices. We can't let the Koch brothers, Fox News.
Exactly, and everybody who's got the president's ear.
We gotta have the plutocracy.
We need thousands of people to surround the White House, and they did it last time, and I never even knew what 350 was then. It's a global campaign, and I mean it's having protests everywhere. People are standing up everywhere, all over the world, especially poor places, which are usually the places most affected by climate change, especially most negatively affected. They're standing up. They realize it.
In low sea line areas.
We in the first world are still complacent. We're still not too worried about it. So we need to wake up, because your children are going to inherit the same planet, and we might be doing things to it that we might not be able to reverse. We might be doing things to it that doom possibly civilization, possibly half the species on the planet.
I'm about to move to Mars because the world's a mess.
I'm at Pluto. I'm at Mars.
At the same damn time.
Do what you can. Let your voice be heard. Stand up against this Keystone XL pipeline. Let the president know to block this. Let him know that we're not just going to sit down while our environment's destroyed and destroyed. So, February 17th. Check out 350.org. There's a lot of other organizations involved. Sierra Club.
January 17th or February 17th?
February 17th.
Oh, February. Oh.
All right, well, this is Plutocracy Now, February 17th.
And if you can't be in Washington, D.C., then pull up some Chinese privet and plant a native plant in your backyard for Mother Earth. She will thank you. Mwah.
Or start a local protest.
Do what you can. Raise awareness. Whatever you can do.
And we also need to bring back wolves and cougars to this area to control the deer population. I hit 2 deers in 1 month.
Call your senators and House representatives. Let them know. It doesn't take that long. You can just spend like 5 minutes and it makes an impact. When people call in that kind of numbers, gets your politicians thinking.
Yeah, don't let Americans for Prosperity, the Manhattan Institute, Donors Trust, a dark money 501c3 organization, call themselves charitable, but they get all their money from Koch Industries.
Dark money.
We may not have the advantage in money, but we've got the advantage in our vote and our voice.
Yeah, we've got the numbers. That's why it's 99 to 1.
Don't let your voice be manipulated.
Don't let the 1% profit on the negative effects you're going to have to deal with. You and your children, your grandchildren, and everyone who inherits this whole earth. So,
thank you for tuning in.
February 17th, on Plutocracy Now. Peace.